Who said you can't go home? Real Estate Exposed, brought to you by Signature Real Estate. Real Estate Exposed is all about helping homeowners and those who would like to be homeowners and those who would like to get into real estate.
Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, your source for all things real estate. Broadcasting live from Las Vegas, Nevada.
This is Vandana, Bhalla.
And this is Brandon Roberts.
You did so great.
And that's Shelly Panzarella.
This is Brandon Roberts, the broker owner of Signature Real Estate Group, along with our co-host, Miss Shelly Panzarella from Prosperity Lending. Did we screw that up completely? The only scripted part here, right? No?
We were supposed to go unscripted, so that was already a fail.
It has been about 5 years since we did our last Real Estate Exposed, so I anticipate there's going to be a little bit of bumps coming into this one.
I don't think so. I think we're going to be phenomenal this first time around for the second time around.
Okay. Keep believing that.
Amazing.
Here we go.
Should we redo the intro?
Nope.
Was that
Beta
the
already
exact
has
hot
the board
mess that
out
we
to start
expected
over.
to be?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So we're actually going to be taking questions. So if you have any, you can email them. I don't have an email address yet. You can also put them on Facebook. We don't have that yet as well. Or you can send them to our Twitter. We don't know what our tweeter is.
Twitter handle is
Oh,
yet?
we don't know what our Twitter handle is yet. But we do know that Facebook doesn't allow exposed in any of their words.
I wonder why.
I don't know. It's kind of silly. I mean, all we're doing is talking about real estate. What's the big deal? No? Yeah? All right. So let's look at what's actually happening here in Las Vegas. We have, let me give you some numbers. So as of right now, there's 7,147 active listings on the market. Is that a big deal, you ask? Well, if you look at what was happening about a year ago, we had 90 glasses for this. It's weird. I just finally got them. But last year, 7,808 homes were on the market. They were in active status for single family homes. That is, so as of right now, we're down about 5.4%.
So I have a question for you.
Too early.
You've given the stats in all of our shows.
I have.
5 years ago was the last time you did our stats. How do we compare to that?
Great question.
So 5 years ago,
Oh, you do have that.
it was...
Vandana is definitely never unscripted.
I do not. No, I am very unscripted.
You can make it up.
Prepared.
I'm actually really trying hard not to say the F word throughout this entire thing. So
What the F?
it's too early, I think. If I had a glass of wine or some booze or something, it'd be a different scenario. What did you just do? So anyway, so that's what's going on in the Las Vegas market. And we have, so if you look at sort of what's been going on in the last 7 days, and I do sort of an update every single week with our company. In the last 7 days, we've had 1,059 homes that have actually hit the market. Not 1,069, you sick MFers, but 1,059. And then, it's pointing at both of you.
But it was plural.
Right?
I don't get it.
So 1,059 new listings hit the market in the last 7 days, and we've had about 792 that have sold in the last 7 days. Now, of those, does anybody remember what the highest priced sale was? Don't look, Brandon, you're cheating. Don't cheat.
Just so you know, I need glasses too. I couldn't see that. It was right in front of me.
$15 million.
Nope, close, but 11 million. So $11,250,000 was the highest sale, and that took about 590 days. Now, most homes in that price point usually take almost 2 years to sell once they've hit the market. We've got a couple of things that are different now in regards to the MLS rules. It's nationwide, right, where we have to input all of our listings within 24 hours of public marketing, which has made it very difficult for a lot of the higher end luxury agents to keep pocket listings, for instance. If you can't see me, or you can see me. You can't see me? Can they see me?
I'll just do the sound effect. Air quotes.
Air quotes. I don't even know what I was air quoting anymore. Okay. Pocket listings. That's
and
right. Pocket
exposed.
listings. Thank you. I'm so glad that you remember for me.
Somebody's paying attention.
Someone is paying attention. So tell me, Shelly,
Yes.
how's the loan market going? And please don't make this boring. I think one of the,
Oh my gosh. Anything about loans is boring.
well, and that's the thing, right? You start talking about numbers and nobody pays attention. And so, which is why I start with all the numbers for the real
Which is why
estate
none of us
market.
heard the first part of it.
I was going to say, I was riveted to the stats.
Were you? Well, it's kind of important to know because everybody thinks the sky is falling. Is it falling? I mean, we're only 5.4. You're looking at me because you know what I'm referencing.
Where's Chicken Little?
5.4% down from last year. And last year was a pretty good year. This year, I feel like I've been super busy. And I think it's owed a little bit to what's going on in the lending market. With interest rates are so low right now. It's a new word. I'm just changing it.
It's an advertisement right now.
Yeah.
Plug.
The vowels are hard for me. Even the word vowel is hard for me.
The rates are hard for me to say now.
Rurals is hard for me. What other words are hard for you to say? Rurals.
Rural. Like rurals?
Rurals. R-U-R-A-L-S. Rurals. That's a hard word for me to say. I can't figure it out for the...
Well, you don't sell in the rural areas anyways, right?
I don't sell in the rural areas.
Because she can't say it.
They won't let me there. They're like, so do you know how to say rurals? And I'm like, no, I'm good. Thanks.
Actually, when you drive in, they go, what's the password? You're like,
Walmart.
No, it's rural.
It's rural. All right, so for real, let's talk about roads.
Roads. So roads are actually. So yesterday we saw a little bit of an increase, which we don't know. What day are we?
Today's Thursday.
Thursday.
All day long.
All day long. Today's Thursday. Yeah. We did see a little bit of a blip in interest rates, and then a nice little surprise by Mark Calabria.
Who's that guy?
Is the head of Fannie Freddie.
Okay.
No, he's the head of.
He takes them both at the same time?
At the same time.
Got it.
This is exposed. Real estate exposed.
Now you know why they don't allow the word in Facebook.
Anyways, so he actually is imposing a 0.5% increase in cost for refinance rates.
What?
I know, because all of a sudden we're doing a ton of refinances and he wants a piece of that action.
So if you're getting
exposed,
if you've got a loan that you're refinancing $200,000, 0.5% of that is $1,000. So it's an extra $1,000 that you're going to have to pay to refinance.
You are good at math.
I know. It's not always. I can
fast.
usually do, can I say it? Can I say the percent amount? Whatever, bananas. But never mind.
Oh, commissions.
Commissions.
I can say commissions.
Because this is going out to the world, right? So I don't want it. No antitrust violations allowed here. But so if it is 0.5% on a $200,000, you're paying an extra $1,000.
Correct. To get that rate. That's for refinances. So, that's just basically the government wanting to get in on that, our money play. Is that what that's called?
Money play. So what's your personal opinion on that?
My personal opinion on it is it's going to be a little unfair advantage with the housing economy right now, right? We're talking about refinancing because rates are low. I mean, we're saving hundreds of dollars for our clients today. That's one of the greatest things, even though everybody's like, oh, you've got a ton of refinances coming on board, can't get a hold of you, a lot of our lenders today. But the reality of it is because we're saving lives. We're helping homeowners.
You're saving marriages, is what I heard.
We are saving marriages, exactly. So I think it's a little bit of a play on money. And it's obviously one way. It doesn't affect purchases, which is a good thing. But it'll be, I think it'll put a little bit of damper on refinances for us.
But will it? I mean, if you're saving them, depending on what rate they actually started at, if you're saving them hundreds of dollars a month, an extra $1,000 or $1,500 in the scheme of things, in the long run, is not that big of a deal.
Right. And really, do they look at the fees that it's costing them, or do they look at what their payment's going to be after?
They look at both.
Do they?
I mean, I think a lot right now, that's the number one thing is lowest rate, lowest fees when they're looking at these refinances. But so I think that's it's just something that's being added in there. I think it's just a bad play in this time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about how refinances are great, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, since it's so wonderful, we're going to do an extra 0.5 point off of that for us, not for the borrower.
And interest rates right now are what, 2 3/4?
Well, as of yesterday, they were like 2.75. So today they'll probably be 2.875.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
If you financed your home 2 years ago, you're paying, half that now if you refinance today?
I mean, truthfully, we are refinancing borrowers from pre-COVID. And it's making sense for them to do today, where they're still saving $200 to $300 a month. And we were talking a little earlier about purchasing power with the rates being so low, and half of that is like I had a borrower who was looking in November to purchase. She was at like $350 based on a rate of 4.5. Mm-hmm. Today at 2.75, she's up to $420 to purchase.
Dang! Wow.
I know. So significant, right, as far as the purchasing power for our buyers today.
Yeah. Well, and then you've got a lot of people that are that were working, got furloughed, and are back to working again, which is kind of a good thing, right? So they were furloughed, they're back to working, they've got a job. You can get those people financed, even though they had that little gap of work time.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, we just
Why are you laughing?
Tennis.
Tennis.
I feel like I'm in a tennis match.
Yes.
Brandon, please be involved in this,
I
all
know.
right?
You're exposed.
I'm the
exposed.
referee. That ball is out.
Next. Yes. So we are the gap of employment obviously is explainable. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Explainable. Sure. Yes.
How do you explain it? COVID?
Yeah. We just due to COVID. That's it. Signature.
And
End of story.
underwriters aren't finding a huge issue with that.
No, the only thing that we are really having to be a little bit more diligent on is like tip income, commission income, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2-3 months into the year, they were probably earning a high tip income, and we have to evaluate what that income looks like today.
So do you average that out?
Yeah, based on like the last 2 months, however long it's been that they've been returned, because this is kind of the normal today, right?
So you don't average that out based on January, February, and then no?
No, because I think it's hard to say, yeah, what you did in January, February is going to be
What you're going to do in September, October?
right. Yeah, I mean, we're 50% at occupancy for a lot of our servers, right? So that's been one thing, but it's definitely good that they're back to work, even getting their base salaries or hourly rates. Mm-hmm. And then we just analyze the tip income or commission income differently.
See, I remember when we went into quarantine, there was a lot of discussion about refinances, and that was kind of where most of the escrows were closing were through refinance, right? That was sort of the big number that we were seeing. Is that still the same thing now? Or are people actually buying homes? Because I know I'm busy with people buying homes and selling homes.
Yeah, I mean, volume across the board for every lender today has increased, and that is because of the refinances. For us personally here at Prosperity Lending, our purchase has always taken precedence over our refinances, but our volume has increased, so the percentage of purchase to refinance is much lower just because our volume's higher. Make sense?
Yeah.
And I think even for title and everybody seeing that ramp in volume is because of the refinances, but purchases are still happening. Absolutely.
So we have a lot of escrows opening at Signature, but with as many refis and along with the purchases, how's that doing on turn times and closing times?
Great question. So it's funny because I've seen a lot of. Was that scripted?
No,
Oh.
I made that up off my head.
Whew, good job.
Look, I'll
Brandon.
even close. I don't need this anymore. I'm going to close it. Whoops, sorry, Mike.
So I've seen a lot of Facebook posts or just posts in general about turn times for lenders. And I mean, the reality of it is I like to throw this analogy out there. So $10 trillion of opportunity for refinance.
Trillion with a T.
T, yes.
T.
And the lenders across the nation were really structured to close 2.6 trillion in overall business. So imagine we're trying to cram. This is exposed again, right? Would be really hard for us to do that.
I'm glad she's on the show.
She's making it so much easier for me to expose.
She keeps us on topic.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so to answer your question, turn times have ballooned. Actually, I heard a stat yesterday that
Wait, I'm sorry. Turn times have ballooned?
ballooned because of the refinances for most lenders.
What does that mean?
So where we were originally closing loans, so where turn times for even refinances were like 30 days, hopefully the lenders' refinances have ballooned to like a 45 to 60 day closing time
Got
frame.
it.
For purchases, though, for us at Prosperity Lending, we have...
They're longer.
No, they're shorter. They're remaining the same.
So
Refis are
purchases.
slower, but the purchases are moving
Yes,
top priority.
correct. We're not
Got it.
allowing our purchases to follow the line of the refinances.
Do you think that's throughout all of the
That's not the
lenders?
industry-wide,
That's not the
no.
industry. Okay.
No, we were looking at our turn times compared to national turn times just based on our loan originating system. And, as an example, as a whole, which includes our refinances, we're at 45 days and the nation was at 54.
Wow.
Yeah, for purchases, we were at 28 and the nation was at 47.
I will tell you, you have 100% earned my business throughout the years because when we first met, we were on the ARIA board together. In fact, I was your secretary, treasurer, I don't remember, for your board.
You were her assistant.
I was her assistant. Yep.
Never.
And now
I can never
the
be.
roles have turned. No,
Yes.
I think, your secretary when you were president of the Asian Real Estate Association of America.
Yes.
And we never did any business together, right? I mean, I was always, you have 100% earned my business from the customer service aspect, from the support aspect, the way that you come, I mean, just the closing time frame. I don't have to ever worry about loans closing with you. When you tell me that they're going to close, they close. I think that's a huge thing. I mean, I've had so many buyers that have come in on listings that properties that I've listed, and those lenders can't get them closed, and I'll send them over to you. And I'm like, hey, Shelly, you've got 8 days to do this. And you will get it done in 8 days. Like, surprisingly enough, you've done that for me almost 3 times. For my team, probably over a handful of times. So, I mean,
That's because whatever Vandana says goes. Just in case nobody knows that, if Vandana wants it, it's going to happen.
yeah.
She taught me.
Brandon,
you
do
just
you want
can't
to
say
add
no.
on to that?
Do you want me to compliment both of you? Or
Yes, please.
no. Yes, please.
We'll wait.
Didn't you script this out for me?
No,
It's
no,
unscripted.
it's unscripted.
And unexposed.
Unexposed. No, very exposed. So thank you for that. I
It's my
absolutely
pleasure.
appreciate you. And even like the follow up on the back end with the back end, with the clients
I like
after
back
the
end
closing.
follow-up.
We need like a sound effect that goes exposed every time something like that goes on.
Right? It's going to
We should
happen.
take shots every time we do it. Oh, it's too early.
It's too early. We
No.
should also record this later then.
no, because
Can you imagine
I'm
us
not
with
as,
a glass of wine? Ooh.
Oh Lord, yeah, I've seen you with a couple glasses of wine.
I just
trying
said
to do
one.
a broker insight. Meet.
Yeah, check out our YouTube page. Oh, we don't have it yet, but when we get it,
But when we get it, yeah, it'll be on our YouTube page. This is not coffee. There is something else in here. Have you seen those memes now that kids are going back to school? Brandon, you forgot.
Air quotes.
air quotes.
Right. So kids are going back to school. There's like these, I actually posted it the other day on my personal page about how like, don't drink mommy's coffee out of her Yeti.
Yes.
Because chances are that's not what it is. Same.
Yeah.
Same. All right. So rates are low. Refinances are going up by 0.5% on the actual for cost, but not necessarily overall, I think it makes sense for someone to refinance. Now here's a real question. Is someone supposed to wait for a couple more months before they refinance? Are rates going down more?
You know, I have had a couple customers or clients who have asked to wait a little while, and I'm like, so you just want to continue to, I'm saving you $500 a month. You want to continue to pay that extra $500 for the next 2 months, spending an extra $1,000, and I'm going to save you this, and it may cost you $4,000. In the
Right.
long run, it's going to end up costing you more as you wait. You're like, okay, sign me up. God bless you,
God
Beta.
bless you, Beta. And now that guy who does Fannie Freddie together,
Yes, I need to find out what his actual job position is. Otherwise, I'll get my NMLS
if they would've-
license
if
is
they would
going
have
to
done
get
it a month
revoked.
ago, they wouldn't be paying an extra $1,000.
That's what I was
Amen.
going to
Right.
say, right? And who
Amen.
knows if that fee's going to go up in the next couple of months. I think
Right.
that people need to understand that there may be additional fees that could be associated with this. I mean, you've got so many people. If you are a tenant right now, right, and you're looking to potentially buy something and you have a job, buy something because one, rates are so low. Chances are your home's going to be price point wise, you're going to be paying the same amount, whether for rent or for sale. Why are you marking like that?
All I
saw
have is
was
actual
teeth.
title position.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, so it's not I do Freddie Fannie?
He
Together?
doesn't do Freddie Fannie. Well, he oversees Freddie Fannie together. He doesn't do them together. He's the director
Same.
of the Federal Housing Finance Agency.
Nice guy.
Air quotes.
Air quotes.
Big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a
Kind
big
of a
deal.
big deal.
All right, fine. We won't make fun
But
of him.
when you talk about rental, it's getting harder and harder to find a rental in this market. It's
Holy
competitive as can
moly.
be. So it's probably easier in Vegas right now to buy a house than it is to
Yeah.
rent a house.
I agree with you. I think that if you're even considering potentially buying and you've got decent enough credit, what's the lowest score you can have?
Technically 580, but you're going to see a little bit higher in rates. I'm seeing them about 620.
620.
Yeah.
So if you've got a credit score of about that, you can potentially get into a home and not have to worry about, getting evicted or potentially losing your job and getting evicted or whatever, right? Because a lot of the banks are going to help. My understanding is that the banks are going to help a little bit with, with the mortgages. And if we go back into quarantine or go back into round 2, which is what I'm hearing, like I'm hearing rumors of that. Have you guys heard anything? No.
Stop listening to those rumors.
Just by you keep telling me to watch out.
I don't even talk to anybody.
I don't know how they could put us back into a quarantine, but if they did, it'd put everything in a tailspin, I think.
Yeah.
But that would be scary.
It would be scary. I mean, how would life change for all of us, right? We wouldn't, and who knows? We might not be able to
anger issues, I think.
I think
Seriously.
so, yeah.
There's like major depression, I think, just because everybody's like housed inside with one another. Divorces, which could be a plus for realtors, right?
Wow.
But we're going to be saving marriages on our side for
quarantine could also make you need a larger house too. So
yeah,
Okay,
that's
true.
true. That's true.
look at the positive side.
4
of it.
wings. Sorry.
Well, I just redid my entire house,
4
and
wings.
the guy who actually, the contractor that did the remodel, he was like, "We have been so busy," and I'm like, "It's because people are sitting in their home, realizing they hate their floors, they hate their walls, they hate their kitchen, they hate their whatever." Or people like me who hate everything about it, except for the fact that I have beautiful backyard and I love my neighbors, so I won't move.
I think you handpicked your neighbors and you handpicked your backyard.
I really did.
Yeah.
I really
So-
did.
And now you just design your whole
Every
inside of your home.
time a house comes up on the market in my home or in my community, I figure out who I want to live next to, and I try to get them
It's
to buy the
weird. She's
house.
never asked me.
You've been
either.
high rise for so long, and you're Henderson. Like people from Henderson don't really move to Summerlin, do they?
Never.
Yeah, and people from Summerlin would never move to Henderson. Like that's just ridiculous.
Well, I always pack an overnight bag anytime I plan to come visit you. So,
I don't have a guest
which
room
is
anymore.
never. I never get invited.
I don't have a guest room anymore. Just so you know, that's gone.
Awesome. So I'll be hanging out in the pool.
Yeah,
On top
pretty
of the,
Pretty much. So should we talk about real estate again? Which is, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
on rentals. What was the question?
I don't know, just everything in general, like on rentals for somebody who's renting a home to buy something. I mean, you've got an app, a widget, whatever, a website.
I get it all. What do you want?
You got it all.
What do you want?
A woody?
What do you want?
Throwing out dollar bills. The rent versus buy app, where you can actually talk about that, because that thing's pretty cool. If you are a tenant that's looking to buy something and you don't know if you can, I think that's a great tool to utilize. So what is that about?
Yeah. So I mean, the biggest thing for me is what it does is it analyzes what it looks like from day one to like whatever year you want to look at your thought of moving out or moving up, and to see really like total difference in rent, equity appreciation, how much you're paying into principal reduction, all of that. I mean, most cases it's like 20 to, I mean, some of them up to $100,000.
Make it sound sexy.
$2 billion. But that tool is actually really cool because it also will show, based on what your tax benefits are, it'll show, or tax write-offs or eligibility is, it'll actually show you what that would look like based on that as well. So based on your rent, a period of time, how much you're paying down, and what that assumed historical appreciation will look like, it gives you that. It gives you that data. Is that the right word? Data. Yeah, in this pretty
Data.
little flyer.
Data. Also rurals.
Data. Data.
Vowels.
Data.
You know, when I say vowels, I have to really think about it because the V's and W's are hard for me. I'm tempted to say vowels every time. It's something that
What are
I've
you
been an
supposed
issue
to
for me.
say?
It sounded
But
right.
let's
to me.
let's go with vowels.
The
Vowels.
vowels.
Are not right. Vowels are not right. Vowels is right.
Who says vowels?
I did sometimes.
Oh, okay.
That's what I
got
was
it.
just saying.
Sorry.
Pay attention to me,
I
Shelly.
am sorry. I can't hear you from all the way over here. We don't have headsets.
I didn't bring my overnight bag.
So we've got property management in our company. We obviously have agents that do commercial. We have agents that do, but they sell, help clients buy and sell property. So how are we doing as a company overall, you think, Brandon? Like, how do you feel about sort of what's happening in our marketplace?
Well, when COVID started and the shutdown, initially I didn't know what to expect. I thought,
Can you
what
smile
the
for-
heck?
Sorry,
We're
that's a
pausing-
Google one.
we're
It
pausing
takes
for
time.
Instagram.
Yeah. Shelly's taking a picture.
I didn't know what to expect. I don't think anybody did, how long it would last or whatever, and or how many deals would fall out. And we saw a lot of deals fall out, but we also saw record numbers of closings happening. And initially I thought it was just because these are the clients that people were already working with. And then we still had a record number of openings. And so then I thought, okay, that's just the clients that they had in escrow and then the ones that they were working with. And then we had like a 2-week slowdown, and then it just picked up. And so we're having probably one of our better years, year over year. And a lot of people have not been able to buy because they've been laid off and stuff. So I just wonder what this year would have been like without COVID, how low our inventory would have been, how that would have affected prices and stuff like that. Because the real estate markets remain strong. And the agents that we have that are working on a daily basis are selling a lot more real estate
than they would have had it been a normal.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's because there are a lot of agents that aren't working and not taking a piece of that pie, so to speak. But the agents that are working are making money. And then we've got agents in our industry. Apple pie.
Pumpkin pie.
Coconut cream.
No, God, no coconut.
Oh, yeah,
no
you don't
coconut.
like coconut.
No coconut.
But there's a lot of agents
I'm allergic.
our agents in our industry that can't buy pie because they're not working.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Probably better that
She did
way.
not miss it, though. you did notice she did not miss
Sorry,
the air quotes
Brandon,
section.
I don't mean it.
It's okay.
But please go back to your serious discussion.
We had one serious moment in the show, and now we're off.
We're
Back to Real Estate
unleashed again.
Exposed.
Okay, but really, I mean, that's what the show's about, right? Having some fun, talking about real estate and exposing a bunch of shit. So I said shit.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So with that, do you think some of it is based on like when we hit COVID, everybody was like, pivot, we got to figure out how to change this. Oh, maybe we should just call our clients and just check in with them.
Because I got nothing else to do.
Exactly, right?
Sitting in my
and
pajamas
then all of a
at
sudden,
home.
now the world's coming back to normal, and these clients who we reached out to during COVID just to check in on them are like, hey, remember you called me, now I want to sell my house. Do you think some of that would be?
I think that some of the agents did a really good job of connecting with people and really out of concern of how people were doing. But there are a lot of people that just shelled up, didn't know. I mean, I was one for the first few weeks that was like, I don't know what to do, because we basically shut down our offices, still selling real estate, had it minimally staffed, but we didn't have each one of our offices staffed. So here I'm used to going to the office every day, and now I'm looking at the walls in my house going, what do I do?
You moved too, right, during that time?
Well, that's the only thing that kept me sane was that I was moving from my high-rise into a house, and there was some remodeling that had to be done. So it gave me a project to kind of work through, which kind of kept me sane. And then it kind of started to become the new normal, and you kind of get your routine, and that works. But yeah, I think the agents that are reaching out to their clients or past clients, their database, are the ones that are going to be successful because those people already know, like, and trust you. Mm-hmm. And they're more likely to have honest conversations with you so that you can actually help them through the process.
So the other thing that I noticed, though, as soon as we went into COVID, we had come to realize that we may not be able to show some property, right? And so there were agents that were, and clients as well, people buying houses, selling houses, that were just like, let's get this closed as soon as possible. I'm worried I'm not going to be able to go to the bank to wire the funds. I'm worried I'm not going to be able to go sign documents because the title companies are going to be closed. I'm worried, right? So there was a lot, I felt like there was an influx of closings that happened pretty early on during COVID or the shutdown that might not have happened, that would have been spaced out over the course of, an extra 30 to 60 days.
It could have been really bad. Like our state association did a good job communicating with the governor to keep our industry as an essential business.
Yeah. Because
if they would have shut down real estate as an essential business, it could have put a lot of people in a lot of bad predicaments in their housing and everything else. So, there was a lot of uncertainty. I mean, there's still some houses on the market we can't show, like tenant occupied. We still can't do open houses.
But that's going to end soon, right? I mean, the open houses I'm not sure about because I don't think that's going to be allowed for a while. But being able to show tenant occupied properties is about to
right?
be pushed. Yeah, is about to be taken away.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, some people are really, really scared of this, and some people have a lot of reasons to be. With pre-existing conditions, sound effects, pre-existing conditions. So I get it. And then there are others that just don't. So to force something on a tenant that doesn't really have a say on the house, I think would have been wrong. So I think it was the right decision to to hold those off. But yeah, that's coming to a sunset, I think.
Yeah, especially with so many people getting exposed so quickly and there not being enough room in the hospitals. I think that was the biggest concern, is why we did what we did as a state. And I know there's people on both sides, so I'm not going to talk about whether it was the right decision or the wrong decision or whatnot. I think that ultimately people who wanted to stay safe and wanted to stay unexposed were home. We're home. Was that a selfish plug? But not really. It was an unselfish plug, right? Because it was unexposed. And those who
I'm lost.
I know. I knew in my
see.
head what I was saying, and that's all that matters.
Try to stay with us.
Stay with my head. So we had, and I think that people who now at this moment are trying to, scramble to figure out, okay, what are we going to do next? I mean, there's been, I think the anticipation, the last number I heard is that there's going to be about 90,000 evictions that are going to be filed come September 1.
In Nevada,
That's
right?
scary as hell.
I can't even fathom that. I mean, in reality, that's because there's been a moratorium on evictions.
Moratorium.
That's what I said.
Rurals.
And not
Wowels,
just in the rural
wowels.
areas. Rural areas. And so some people haven't been able to pay their rent, and some people have just chosen not to pay their rent. Well,
Right.
It doesn't, and they haven't been able to be evicted, but it doesn't mean that debt has been forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
They still owe it. And there's a lot of mortgages even that we're doing forbearances, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that money is still owed as well.
Yeah.
And so there is going to come a time when that's going to be due. So when that tenant, so to speak, isn't able to pay that rent or chooses not to pay that rent, that's where it's going to lead those evictions. It's hard for me to fathom 90,000 though.
It is hard for me to
Because
understand that, but
we manage close to 800 properties, and the percentages of people that haven't paid rent with us isn't that high.
it's like 10 or 12%, right?
I mean, it's higher than you want it to be, but
even
it
that
could have been worse.
I feel like that's sort of across the board, because I sit on a property management PAG for the state association, and we discuss like how many people actually haven't gotten their payments, and their numbers are about 10 to 12%.
So it could be that, right?
So with 10 to 12%, you figure, I mean, I didn't even know there were that many homes that were being managed or that there were that many rentals in Las Vegas. So that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit.
Though, or is that just in
Statewide,
Vegas?
I guess. Yeah. Sorry.
No, but there's probably that many down here too,
Yeah. Well, I mean, because we're most of the state. Don't want to get into a north-south.
So 89,000 down here?
Right. Don't want to get into a north and south debate here, but yeah, I mean, most of the state is Las Vegas, right? You've got Vegas and
Most
Reno.
of the population, right?
Yeah. So with that many evictions coming on board, I think now is the time that a lot of property managers and landlords are starting to have the discussions with the tenants of, let's talk about repayment. And I've only got 3 that haven't paid. And of the 3, I've gotten 2 of them to come to some form of agreement. And then the third one is just like, I'm sorry, I can't pay. And I'm like, well, have you applied for all of these other programs that are available? Like, I encourage you, because there are programs that are out there that help tenants pay rent.
Yeah.
And that is the part that frustrates me, is that those tenants refuse to do that. I don't know why. Why would they keep talking about, well, I had a friend of mine actually who's a property manager text me yesterday and said, I had a tenant that said, well, when is the governor going to waive the payments from the last couple of months? And I went, holy crap. Like the thought process of these tenants, of some of these tenants, not all, is that they're going to eventually waive it. I mean, I haven't been able to get my student loans waived. I don't know why the government would waive tenant. You've been getting paid. There's a lot of programs that are out there, statewide, citywide, countywide, that are helping tenants pay rent. They're just not utilizing those.
Yeah, and as a renter, I think it's your obligation to figure out a way to help pay that owner. Not every owner is a big investment company.
No.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that have bought a second home to rent. That's their retirement, and they still have to pay mortgages on that.
And the sewer, and their taxes, and their
Yeah.
trash, and their, right? And
So I think in society today, I think we all need to start thinking about the other person a little bit, and that tenant should start thinking a little bit about that owner. The owner was forced to consider the tenant based on some of the governor's directives, but I think the best bet for both parties would come to some kind of agreement for repayment that the tenant can live with and the owner can live with, and then that avoids the whole eviction process and the whole litigation, and it allows that owner to start collecting money sooner than later, and lets that tenant get their life back.
Yeah.
So was that not happening during this moratorium? Like you could not talk to your tenants and say, "Hey, what's the plan after we come out of this?"
It was hard because you didn't know when the end was either.
Right.
Right. So you're going to make this agreement that the tenant may not really be able to live up to.
Well, you weren't even allowed to make an agreement. People were turning in property managers and landlords to the Attorney General's office filing complaints. And the I don't want to get a call from the Attorney General, do you?
No.
Sure.
So he's my friend. I don't care.
No, that's you don't want to be that. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be. You don't want to be made an example of, for sure.
Yeah. And so there's actually, in that PAG that I was talking about, there's actually somebody who's had a few complaints filed against them because of the fact that they had discussions with their tenants about repayment. Well, you couldn't do that. You weren't allowed to do that until this month. And then starting September 1st, we can start evicting as of now. Right?
I think some of it is also education too, right? I just don't think that everybody knows that there's this assistance opportunity for.
Was that an air quote moment? Air quotes.
No.
No, it
Oh,
was a
sorry.
That was
Okay.
just
head
head,
wiggle.
Sorry.
head bump
Okay,
move.
got it.
Brandon's dancing
Start
with
again.
us.
Rewind. Play.
So I think some of it is.
That was good.
Some of it is what the F?
Did you lose your train of thought?
I'm looking at this screen here. So is the education side of it. I think, we know it, right? There's not
Yeah.
a lot of people that are out there being advocates for it. It's not being like publicly announced in anything that you oversee. It's really just our job as in the industry to share this information. And we're just not, it's just not out there fast enough. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of it because it also helps it also helps the landlord too.
Yeah.
There's also assistance for them.
I've been interviewed by a couple of different news channels. And here's the thing. People aren't watching the news anymore because it's doom and gloom. And nobody wants to pay attention. So we're trying to get the message out. The industry's getting the message out. Our associations are getting the messages out. Nobody's listening. Nobody's paying attention anymore. And they just remember back in 2008 when we had that big shift in our market and the market crashed. People stopped checking their mail.
Yeah,
They
it's true.
stopped
I remember
taking
that.
phone calls from their bank. They stopped all of it. And so it's not quite there. And I don't know if it ever will be again.
But it could be for some people, right?
If we go through round 2 of this, it's very possible this could be something. I mean, I've been watching, even Cox Communications put an ad out. I don't know if we're allowed to say that. We're not that big. They don't care, right? So they put out, no, not that Cox Communication. The actual.
Sorry.
Yeah. The actual Cox Communication put out like an ad. There's a lot of seniors that have nobody to talk to, and so their staff was actually making phone calls, talking to people. I mean, that's how bad it was getting, is that people just weren't communicating with anyone. There was nobody else that they could talk to.
They've called me before.
Cox Communications.
Yeah.
Are you
Because
in
you're an
the
old
same-
man.
Oh, I was going to say, are you in that age group that they are like, let's reach out to Brandon because he.
No, just want to make sure I paid.
I don't know, Brandon. Your grades are coming.
So maybe we
It's
should
years.
invest in some Facebook ads for that. Could
Maybe.
LVR or who would be the one to be throwing that out there?
Not it. So then we have just 1, 2, 3. Not it. I lost my train of thought.
We do nose
What are
goes.
we talking about?
Facebook ads.
So we're going back to the fact that a lot of the tenants, a lot of people don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
And I know you've done a good job of letting your tenants know about the programs, but a lot of property managers, I would say in our market and even other markets, may not understand it. It's their job of the property manager to understand and of the program so that they can share that with the tenants to potentially help both parties out.
Well, we have a lot of people. So I'm friends with a lot of property managers, and I was part of the group that went to the Clark County Commission hearing last week regarding the new ordinance, the source of income ordinance, as we call it. I'll do it. Ready?
Air quotes.
Source of income
You say it so much nicer.
ordinance. I know. She like whispers it. This is called exposed.
She's the
Brandon.
air quote whisperer.
Right. There you go. That's it. So
Not to be confused with the
shit.
horse
What was I
whisperer.
saying? God dang it, you guys.
You work.
PAG.
Oh, I was
with
on.
a lot
No.
of great
It wasn't a
property
pun.
managers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. So there's a lot
They're
of
all
great
your
properties
friends.
that I. Okay, so let me back up for a second because that's too much information all at one time thrown at me. So we have. I have a lot of friends that are property managers who I have told about this new ordinance at source of income, and they still don't understand, right? But they have, not to say that they have the benefit of me, but they have the benefit of me to explain it to them because I was part of that process. But there's so many property managers that are in our industry that have no clue. They think that the source of income ordinance means that every single person that wants to apply with Section 8 or a voucher from the Housing Authority now has to be automatically qualified based off of that. And that's actually not true, right? That source of income is specifically for the unincorporated Clark County. There are some landlords that are exempt. I mean, it's so bad that even the MLS over at the association didn't get it and made some hasty decisions. My understanding is they've reversed that from their meeting as of yesterday, but I'm still waiting for confirmation.
You're welcome.
No, you're welcome.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I was so mad about that. Like, that made me pretty angry. And I've been very vocal because I have been, but
weird,
more
huh?
so now than I ever was before. So when I sat on the board of directors for the association, we weren't allowed to have like any discussions about anything. Like, we were not allowed to talk about anything. We weren't allowed to have an opinion on anything unless it was actually in the boardroom or approved by an attorney or blah, 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 right? Now, I don't give a F that.
Exposed.
Right.
Air quotes.
I can pretty much say what I want when I want. And you know, I've had a lot of discussions with the chair for the MLS. I've talked a lot about, you know, to the board about some things that I just think are a little weird.
Honky.
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 Vowels.
Honky,
It's the
and rural.
vowels.
But I get what you're saying, and your voice is heard because
it's loud.
Because it's loud. No,
It's so beautiful.
because you're educated on when
So
you comment on
beautiful.
something, you've actually done research on it. You actually understand what it is. Unlike a lot of people that just post things on Facebook or out to our membership that they're just trying to get a rise out of people.
I mean, I'm trying to get a rise out of people too.
But I
for the
think
right
you do.
reason.
Yeah,
You
I
definitely come from a place of caring and wanting to make sure the message is.
Whoa, slow down there.
Hey, Bessie, don't you dare talk about me like that.
She is
Let me
not
retract that
sensitive. No, but
You take that shit back right now.
Shelly's
Ooh,
right.
she
You
said
do
a
come
bad
from a good
word.
place.
I've
so.
been saying bad words. Get with the program, Shelly.
Sorry, I'm not listening.
What'd you say, Brandon?
Now all we are doing is listening. Crickets. No, I was just saying, Shelly's right, though. You do come from a good place of caring and wanting to better our industry. Mm-hmm. And that comes across. So
Say
and
more?
I definitely know that you will not.
Say more, say
everything you say is backed with data.
whatever.
Yeah.
Dota.
Tomato. It's backed
Dota.
with tomatoes.
It's
and
Dodo.
so
Doto.
Wow.
Just vowel.
So I think there's a lot of, that's one of the things, right, is that you're not discredited, and a lot of people come to you for information because you do your research and you stand for what you want to stand for. That's all I got.
Sometimes I half-ass it too. but
No.
let's be real.
You just wing it.
I just wing
Whatever.
it. Yeah.
Let's see where
Like
this goes.
Look it.
And it's turned out just fine. This
It's wonderful.
might be our
laughing.
one and only episode, but
No.
hey, it was
Hey,
fun.
this is pretty much what we did, I think, when we were on the radio show, like an actual radio show. But
So
this is-
tell everybody about that, because I don't remember. Back in 1967, is this when this was?
Yes, I was a wee little sperm waiting to swim. No, we
wow.
Exposed.
also way earlier than my time. So what was it? 2009, 2010 ish.
9-10-ish. We started it.
Yeah,
And
we did it for like a year.
We did,
Why did you
we
do
did
it?
longer than that. We did our
Oh,
last
shit.
episode in like April or May of 2013.
Nice.
So-
I'm glad
Every
somebody
week?
remembers. Yeah,
we did it
every week.
weekly. Well, yeah.
What do you mean, well,
There was a couple of reruns, but
There were?
overall, we
remember
did good.
When she had her kids.
No, she'd show up with one on each arm. It didn't matter.
Aw.
It's never on time, but she always showed up.
I take that
showed,
place now.
No. I showed up on time. They were rolling the original like beginning
Our introduction.
our intro. Yeah.
Welcome
so the
to Real
intro,
Estate
I was
Exposed.
running in, opening my laptop, and I'm like, all right, so today's numbers are blah blah blah.
That's Vandana style
And then
right
the
there.
two of
how she
them
can
were
just do
laughing
that.
their asses off because
No.
I barely made it.
We were sweating it because we were just there to support you. And,
it
and we
feels
knew
like
you
deja
you were
vu.
bringing the agenda, and I'm sitting there looking at the other guy going, I don't know what to talk about. Do you? I hope she shows up. Yeah. But you always did. But it was always good. And it was fun. And this this started back up again because I was going through Dropbox and some old files, and all of a sudden I found one of our shows.
Aw.
So I texted to her so she could listen to it, and I texted to Tyson, my son, and he's like, "You guys had good chemistry," and you're like, "We need to do that again."
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, here we
How
are.
sweet, and I got added to that. That's so sweet.
Well, you're the
Yes,
glue
Shelly,
that holds it all together.
Oh, that's
Now I have 2 people that are going to show up late, and then I'll be stressing. And so I venture to say they're going to stick me with one show where it'll just be me.
We'd never let you down.
Which
like
I
that.
think you do a great job at talking all by yourself.
I talk to myself all day.
Same, right?
Right?
I mean, that's
Same.
kind of what we're doing here. We're just talking to each other. All right, how long's it been? Has it been
It's been like
40
5
minutes?
years.
No.
So it wasn't 1967. It was 2010.
Yeah, and then I think I'm surprised that we did it till 2013 because I think there was a lot of controversy at the board where we weren't allowed to speak because you came on the board in 2013, 14.
No.
He was
Yeah.
WCR 2012.
That's
I
why
was president of WCR in 2013.
That's how I met Brandon.
Yeah.
And that's when we stopped doing our show.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
right
when,
after that.
that's
It was
when I
too
had,
much.
that's when I had an
WCR
emotional
ruined
breakdown.
everything.
Those women trashed me. No, that was a good. It was a good
And
experience.
here you are with 2 women
was a
on
good
either side of you.
experience,
Right?
I've learned my lesson. I will be a good boy. No, it was a good experience. So it was after that I got on the board. But you were able, because of your affiliation with a lot of the board and that, you were able to bring some good guests on. We had presidents. We had
People.
lobbyists for the legislative, for the state. We've had a lot of great guests. Tons of great callers. I think we had one guy that called every week.
Yeah, at least one guy was listening.
Yeah,
I think that's. The
I
most
think we
important
paid
part.
him, but
I was going to
he
say.
made more money than we did. But
Nice.
but
Did you
no,
guys
it was
make
fun.
money off of it?
No,
Like,
Yeah,
this was
no.
pro bono, right? I didn't get a.
you didn't.
You're gonna get a bill.
You didn't. You didn't sign a contract.
I didn't.
There's an invoice that's pending.
I'm on a
Shelly.
90-day probation.
You
No.
get to hang out with me every week.
We
You get an
actually
invoice
paid
for
to
that.
do it because we
Yeah.
paid for airtime basically.
Oh.
But it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah, we paid to do it.
Air quotes. So back then to today, like, what do you guys think is different about the market outside of Vandana's numbers?
well, we're not dealing with AB 284.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're dealing with SB1 and
And
SB 256 and
Yeah.
COVID
And COVID.
So
There's-
really, it's all the same. The names have just changed.
Really?
Yeah.
Do
And
you-
here's the thing. I find that now during the legislative sessions, they're going after landlords more than anything else. And the problem that we're seeing, and when we start having other guests on the show, you'll be able to see. But I think the problem that we're having as an industry is that most of the legislatures that are bringing these bills about are not separating us as the single family homeowners from apartments. And so we get roped into all of the issues that tenants are having in apartment buildings that now become a problem for single family resident landlords. And once we can figure out how to separate those, I think the problems will be less because the tenants are not the same. The landlords are not the same, right? Most of the landlords. And so one of the things that we had a win on for that ordinance was that anybody who owns one single family home and their own property, so they own a rental and their own property, they're exempt from that ordinance. And that's kind of a big deal, right? The other thing that was a win for the ordinance from the Clark County Commission was that source of income. Air quotes.
Air quotes.
Thank you. The source.
I was like, trying to. Was that
I
a
was
question?
enamored
on,
in
you
I was enamored in her dialogue.
The source of income ordinance was that it sunsets at the end of the year unless we have an extension to the governor's emergency directive. And I think those were some 2 big wins that we had. The one that we were hoping to get was to remove licensees from being in violation of the ordinance if the landlord chose not to rent to somebody who was, coming from that source of income for a voucher or whatnot. That was the issue. And we are still, we're roped into it, unfortunately. So if the landlord makes a decision, we are also in violation. I don't know who's actually going to be fining us or what the teeth are in regards to that. The process is still, pending. We talked about it in our sales meeting on Tuesday, is that we still don't know what the process is going to look like.
Well, I think the scary thing is anytime there's legislation, they typically try to do
Just
it
do a
for the
video.
good of somebody. But there's
Correct.
usually always, not usually, there's always consequences on the other side.
Yeah.
There's no
And so-
win-win. It's something.
Right.
It's usually a win-lose
And
for
so
someone.
what you could see here is shorter lease terms, higher deposits, stuff like that to protect that homeowner, because the homeowner's out there and they're exposed
Right.
financially, so they've got to be protected as well. So sometimes when you try to do something good, it really works in the negative.
for
and-
for a majority of
And I
people.
think
So-
if I could say anything, is that people really need to pay attention to elections and stop just voting down party lines. Really look at what the beliefs are of people and that are running and how that affects you in your life, and vote properly. Get educated on it and stop just listening to the news and going off somebody else's decision. Actually do some homework,
Yeah, I agree. But
because we could get in a very bad spot.
yeah, and that's about as much politics as we're going to talk about.
No, I'll go one more.
We'll go.
No, I
Just
just
say cut off, no
you
more.
know,
But yes, you are correct.
if
It
you go
makes
against-
such a difference
Right.
who's making the decisions for you.
But
right?
if you go everything pro-tenant, then we lose people wanting to invest in Nevada and be landlords, and now we don't have rentals, and you have no place for these tenants, which drives prices even higher.
drives
makes it even
prices
harder.
higher and makes people homeless.
Right. So
And we are a transient city, and I feel like it'll be more transient because of some of the new laws that are coming in place. And so it really does need to be balanced out. And I
Yeah.
think that's the most important part, is balancing this shit for us, right? For the entire city, or for the state.
right. So
That's it. So
Rant over.
I think we've reached sort of a time where we can stop talking now. What do you guys think?
Where are we at
I don't know. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. I think we're there
for this episode?
for this episode.
You'll invite us back, right?
maybe.
Okay.
I'll see.
I'll be better
Yes,
prepared.
no, absolutely.
let
this
us
is gonna
know
be,
10 minutes before the show so we can
Please.
get here.
So I
for
could be
sure.
on time.
I'll give you at least 12-minute notice.
No, thank you, Shelly. She was notified of her
Presence.
acceptance of her contract yesterday at 4:50. So,
No pay contract.
No pay contract.
but
You're
you
welcome.
accepted it. You're here.
But I love hanging out with you guys. This is like the best part of my day now.
Keep talking.
This week, today.
Keep going.
It's Thursday.
It's
still,
okay
right?
because the day just started. It better be one of the best parts.
Yeah.
Not Shelly's day. She wakes up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. That's what we're going to talk about next week,
Me?
Shelly.
No,
yeah, we're
enough
going to
about
talk
me.
about what the heck
That
you
has
do
nothing
at
to do with
4
Exposed.
a.m. And then you continue to go until
That
like
didn't
when?
look appropriate.
Like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I got a text from you last night.
Well, yeah, that's because you're like, hey, B, you need to be here by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for our real estate expo.
B.
Well, I'm not going to say the bad word on
Bitch?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
She can pronounce
And-
that just fine.
No vowel issues there.
Right?
All right. And with that, I think
Wrap us up.
I think we're done. So thanks so much, everybody, for listening in to Real Estate Exposed. And hopefully we'll have somewhere you can contact us through by next time. Bye.
Bye for now.